Yo, what's going on? Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, everybody out there on the platforms. It's your boy Damo with my co-host today.
What's going on, everybody? It's Coquito.
And we got a special guest today. Coquito wanted him on the show. I went live, I think last week, and he was like, "Hey man, you should try to get him on the show." So I was like, "All right, sure, why not?" We got my guy Lucas here. Lucas, how are you doing today?
I'm feeling good, man. It's another beautiful rainy day here in Indianapolis. So, sky is all perfectly overcast. But outside of that, I'm just loving life.
Hey man, can't complain about that.
Yes, sir.
Still raining over there. Hopefully it'll go away soon, but it is what it is. Lucas, the main question I have for you is: are you drinking with us today?
Oh, you know it, man. I got my bullet with me right now.
All right, let's go. Let's go. I like to hear that. I like to hear that. So, Coquito, you ready to jump into the show?
Yeah, like always, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Hot Take Podcast.
Yo, it's your boy Dom.
Yo, it's your boy Coquito, and you are watching the Hot Take Podcast.
All right, man. So we got Lucas drinking. So we got a drink too. I got my Grey Goose here.
I still got
Gotta show the world.
the cowboy whiskey over here still. So
Jesus Christ, Coquito.
I haven't even touched it.
At this point, I'm going to tell you, just pour it out. Just pour it out at this point. I don't feel like you're going to finish in no time soon.
No, I'll finish. All
right.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and hop into these topics. First, we're going to start off with our special guest, Lucas. If you guys don't know, Lucas is a writer for the Blue Stable. And he does really good work. He actually just released an article on the website. You guys can check out thebluestable.com. His article is on there. He just released one talking about PFF, our favorite guys. But just give us the insight of your journey on writing, man. Where did it start, and how do you love it so far? Just give us your whole input.
Well, I mean, my journey for writing has really started ever since high school. I was working for the local a school paper and everything. Just absolutely fell in love with the writing aspect of it. I've absolutely loved to be in media. I was a little bit of a broadcaster back in college with my own show, Xavier Sports. Wanted to get into more of the visual aspect of it, but now post-grad, I've been dabbling a little bit more with writing. I used to work over for Roster Guy and did a weekly series of the AFC Roundup, and I was assigned with the Titans the whole entire year. So that was interesting to kind of delve into the perspective of a rival. But right now, I'm mostly focusing on doing a few stat projection articles, kind of freelancing a little bit with some other topics, like, as you said, the PFF one, where it seems like way too many people are absolutely in love with the PFF grades, where in actuality, it's more just subjective opinions of the analysts on each and every single play. And I give them credit for their, ability to find stats and kind of compile that. But when it comes to their play-by-play analysis, it's more subjective rather than anything. And too many people kind of praise it as the all-knowing grade. But I mean, I don't think that it should be the go-to. I think there should be other analysts who deserve their due.
Yeah, man, 100%. I agree with you. PFF is definitely crazy. You being in Indiana, you got to go for those Pacers, man. Let us know. The Pacers missed out. They had a up and down season. They lost some talent. Let us know what's next for the Indiana Pacers, man.
Well, what's next for the Indiana Pacers is they're at a crossroads. They have to decide whether or not to blow it up and try and go for a different coach or a bunch of different players or both. And they need to figure out what their identity is. The problem is that it's kind of hard to figure that out when a whole lot of their talent has gotten a little banged up from time to time, and you haven't really had that healthy mesh for a while, especially with TJ Warren going out for a vast majority of the season. That really just was devastating for the offense and even the defense too. So some fans are saying, hey, we need to absolutely destroy everything. There's others who kind of want, hey, maybe we should stick kind of the status quo, give it another year, hopefully with better health from Warren and others, and maybe we'll see what happens. But At this point, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting dilemma. I know a lot of fans really, really wanted Brad Stevens to be the next coach, though, as we'll talk later, that doesn't seem quite as likely right now.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely. So a few things you mentioned. One of those things was an identity. You know, Coquito being a Knicks fan, they have one of the biggest identity problems out there right now, and they're currently in the playoffs. But we'll get into them later. But you know, Coquito. Now that we're talking basketball, I just have one topic I didn't add. You know, at the end of this year, you know, Randall's going to be coming up with a contract. Do you think he deserves a max contract? Should he stay in New York? I want to know your thoughts right now on the New York Knicks and Julius Randle.
I think definitely. I think he should stay in New York. I don't think, especially what's happening in the playoffs, he's not going to get a max contract. I do not want him to get a max contract. I still think he deserves at least around 20 something mil a year, but anything higher than that, no.
I don't know, man. Knicks ain't make the playoffs in a while. Randall happens to be the star of that team. I feel like he might get that max deal. It's going to be a rude awakening for the New York Knicks fans.
I mean, listen, if I'll say like this, if he gets a max deal, we're going back to square one. I'm just flat out. I mean, the Knicks is just going back to square one. I mean, we have the money to sign him, to keep him for a couple years, but to also continue to build the team around, not only around him, but around RJ as well, and add all the other pieces that we need to that team. But signing him to a max contract is not going to help us out, no way, shape, or form. So,
well, can't wait for that to happen. What do you think about that, Lucas? You think he deserves a max deal?
I just haven't seen enough of him to really declare that he deserves that max deal at this point. I mean, maybe re-sign him for like a shorter term deal, see if he can like really prove it for another year, and then maybe extend him for a max later. But at this point, I'm not feeling like that would be the wisest move at this point.
Yeah, man, 100%. Let's go on to the next topic. We're going to switch it to boxing before we hit to these playoffs. Jake Paul has got a new fight coming up next against Tyron Woodley. If anybody knows about Tyron Woodley, he's an MMA fighter, and he definitely has hands. I mean, I think this might be in a little bit of Tyron's favor, but I don't know if he's going to actually win this because it is boxing. Coquito knows a little bit more about boxing than probably the rest of us. Coquito, what do you think about this?
I mean, at least finally, Paul is finding somebody with at least experience of throwing the hands. I mean, Woodley has hands, so I mean, it just basically just comes down to him changing his footwork, not standing with that opening stance, closing his feet up a bit, or leveling up his body, and I definitely think he can get the job done, and the dude can definitely take a punch, and he can definitely give one back. So I think this fight is in his favor.
100%. What you think, Lucas?
I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think this is probably the most competitive fight that Paul's been in so far. In my opinion, one of the best fighters he's had to go up against. However, as much as I've loved his UFC career, this is now boxing, and he's at age 39 going up against a much younger fighter in Paul. So I don't know. Paul just seems like he wants to fight everyone who is a little bit past their prime and really wants to capitalize on it with marketing and like just a bunch of fake kind of I'd say promotional kind of stuff. He's just so much of a diva that I try not to give him any money with pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm in the same with you on that one as well.
Yeah, 100%. Let's go ahead and hop into the next topic. Now, since you guys brought up Brad Stevens, we can go ahead and hop into the basketball topics of discussion. The first one is Danny Ainge has stepped down for the basketball operations of the Boston Celtics, and they're looking to promote Brad Stevens because he went out on the verge of talking about coaching in the bubble and everything, how it's really made him lose the fun of head coaching. So he's look like he's going to be stepping down and taking pretty much Danny Ainge's role. Head coaching job is vacant right now. Let me get your thought process on that whole situation. Coquito first.
I mean, Brad Stevens it's a good coach. I think he has a great mind. It just looks like he just can never figure it out with just that group of guys, or just get that group of guys playing of to the level that he expected them to play. He might just be one of those guys that is a good coach, but might just be a better GM than he is coach. There was plenty of other people that were better GMs than were coaches, or better coaches than were GMs. So I think he might fall in that group of he's going to be a better GM than the coach that he was. I think he has a good eye for talent, so I think he might build this team pretty well. My only other thing is, I mean, him trying to find the next coach. That's I just don't know about that. But other than that, I think he's gonna do a pretty good job building the Celtics.
100%. What's your thoughts on that, Lucas?
Well, it's definitely a new role for Stevens, though he does have experience in the recruiting world for Butler, trying to find talent and find diamonds in the rough. But he was also very instrumental in just developing that talent as well as a coach. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how he adjusts to his new role, but I think he honestly needed a fresh start, and I think he should probably move away from the Celtics organization to get that fresh start. But we'll see what happens. I'm sad that he won't be on my team most likely, but it is what it is. Hoping for the best for him as a local Hoosier, but we'll see.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We see you on the YouTube side. Shout out to you, Culture Sock fan right there. And shout out to Ricky on the Twitch side. He said, you see, sound like he knows what he's talking about. Shout out to both of you on both platforms. Even if you're watching this post-stream, we appreciate all the support, 100%. Let's go ahead and hop into the playoff topics. Very popular moment right now for the NBA playoffs. The first we're going to talk about is the Bucks. They officially swept the Miami Heat. The Heat are out of there. We like to call them around here the bubble frauds because they put on a persona of putting on a good run last year in that bubble. But now when we got fans back in there in that regular arena, they just could not seem to beat the Milwaukee Bucks. Coquito, what is your thoughts on that series, man, about the Bucks?
Well, basically, my whole thing was Jimmy Butler mainly didn't show up, so that killed Miami heavily. But I mean, honestly, what I took away from that series was more of the Bucks. Like I don't think people are really giving the Bucks the credit they deserve. I mean, they played hell of defense. It seemed like every night they just had somebody on that team that was just gonna absolute ball out. I think Forbes had a consistent streak of just lighting it up. Middleton is always doing him. Of course, Giannis is gonna get his. True Holiday as well. So I think from that series I really took more of the Bucks than the Miami just getting swept.
What's your thoughts on that series, Lucas?
Miami is who we thought they were. Absolute frauds. The problem is that Jimmy Butler severely regressed in this series, could not shoot for the life of him. He got outscored by Forbes, which is mind-blowing. And I know TJ Warren was very happy watching that series back at home. But meanwhile, the Bucks, you do have to give them credit, like Coquito said. They played a phenomenal series. Not just Giannis, but the whole entire supporting staff around him just really stepped up night in, night out. And, I mean, they're definitely one of my favorites to win it all this year, at least in the East. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they do going forward.
Yeah, man, 100%. It was just overall for me, it was just a bad matchup. You just look at those games, you're like, there's no way the Heat are going to win at least one game in this series because everybody that they had on roster-wise, depth-wise against the Bucks was just not a good matchup. They didn't have none of those ISO players, no bucket getters really. Most of their players on that team relies on catch and shooting. I mean, that's one of the reasons they acquired Trevor Ariza. I mean, due to defense, but that's back in his heyday. I mean, he's just a spot-up shooter at this point. So when it came to playing the Bucks, an actual contender, it really looked embarrassing for the Miami Heat. So hopefully we can see what they're going to do next year. I mean, they can't even blame Oladipo's move at this point because I think Oladipo wouldn't even help if he even was on the court. But, you know, 100%.
Dime, so I got some breaking news for you, actually, and this is actually for your team.
We got Julio.
No, it's basketball. Coach K is retiring after the season.
I mean, I'm not shocked at that. I mean, when Coach K was man, it's tough. It's tough to be a Duke fan at this point. I mean, I'll stop about it later, but that's After Roy Williams' departure in UNC, I wasn't surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not really surprised that Coach K is retiring. Plus, this year was terrible.
It was horrible. But
it was horrible.
It's just one of those things. Like when you see like Coach K, what you know is Duke, and you like in your mind, Duke will always like you picture just him coaching the Duke for like the rest of your life. Like you never ever see him leaving. So to actually get the news that he's actually gonna retire after this year is pretty freaking crazy.
Yeah, man. Plus, he was going through some injuries throughout the year as coaching as well. Even after he stopped coaching Team USA, I was like, okay, it looks like he's starting to wind down at this point. So, it's kind of good to see him go out on his own terms. But I wish you would have actually made the tourney one more time before he decided to call it quits.
Yeah,
so
seeing him leave kind of gives me the thought like. Maybe Pop might be next. I think Pop is on that verge as him as well. That just kind of declining slowly, and I think he's just gonna give it up before everything just goes into shambles.
Yeah, man, these college players are getting faster and faster, and that zone defense is not going to really work against certain teams because we lost against some bad teams last year, man. So, and then Jalen Johnson left in the middle of the year, so it was just tough to be a Dukes fan last year, man. So. I know my phone's going to blow up in about 5 minutes for a lot of Duke fans and etc. So I'll be looking forward to that. That's why I'm charging my phone now at this point. But thank you for breaking that news, Coquito. I'm going to go sob for a minute. So for that, I'm going to drop this commercial break and we'll be right back. The following commercial is brought to you by Green Gang.
Yeah. Sheesh.
Teal. Show me teal. Show me teal. That's blue. That's blue. Give me Bellinger.
Trout.
Acuna again! Oh my god! I fooled this guy twice! I fooled him twice!
Oh my god! Whoa!
I said the only thing that worries me is, holy shit, Dilly, you were not lying about Canna. Holy mother of God. I don't know if I've ever fucking hit a ball that left the bat that fucking fast before. 108.
Wow, this is the first time actually watching these commercials. Caught me by surprise there.
Yeah, I bet. That was always working.
I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm like, what's this?
nobody there. Be out here. So let's go ahead and hop into the next topic. In the live, it's not kid friendly. Anywho, but we're gonna hop into the next one. The Nets defeated the Brooklyn Nets defeat the Boston Celtics 4-1. I mean, we all seen that coming, but man, we got to give credit where it's due. Jason Tatum went off that one game, and he couldn't be stopped, and he destroyed my favorite player in Kevin Durant on that one side step. Oh my God, it was amazing. I mean, the Celtics did try to put up a fight, but we all knew Brooklyn was going to walk away with that one.
Yeah.
Lucas, let me get your thoughts first on that series.
Well, you're right. Tatum played one phenomenal game, and maybe if he put up 50 every single night, they possibly could have made a more competitive series. But not very realistic expectation, and missing Jaylen Brown really, really hurt the Celtics up front. Like, it was like they definitely lost a lot of depth from that. They were shorthanded, and unfortunately, Nets got the dub. Moving on, and now the Celtics have to reevaluate a lot of things, and they might even be shopping Kemba Walker right now after that. So expect a lot of change coming, not just from the Stevens side, as we mentioned before, but even in the roster.
100%. Coquito, what's your thoughts on that series?
I mean, I guess we pretty much knew how that series wasn't going. It didn't matter. Honestly, I think even with Brown, it still would have been 4-1. So, but yeah, shout out to Tatum. I think he scored 90 in the last 2 games that they played. So the dude is a walking bucket. But I mean, the Nets is just too much. It was pretty much an unfair matchup, pretty much.
Yeah, man, 100%. Shout out to the Nets getting the
I feel
job
like you're
done.
up to something. Why are you smiling?
Who, me?
Yeah, I feel like you're up to something right now.
Oh, no, I'm just pulling up the topics.
Mm.
On to the next one. The Hawks are leading the Knicks, who also plays tonight. The series is 3-1. Coquito, you can go first. What is your predictions on tonight's game?
We're winning tonight. But other than that, man, I mean, it's kind of tough. So basically, we're getting outplayed, we're getting out hustled. We're losing in every aspect of the game of basketball like possible. And I mean, it just completely shows like in the regular season you can get away with having that one star in your team and carrying you to victories, but when you get in the playoffs, if it's not all 15 players on your team contributing, you're not going to win the game. And I mean, just shout out to the Hawks, man. Listen, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Take Julius Randle out of the equation and force these other guys to try to find open shots, put the basket on the floor, and create for themselves. And they cannot do that. So this is a very brutal series, but I think the Knicks could definitely pull it out. At least win in the Garden. At least don't go home in the Garden. If you're gonna go home in Atlanta. So I'm pulling for them to win this game tonight.
Hey, man, we'll definitely see how that goes. Lucas, let me get your thoughts on that series and who wins the next game.
Well, as Coquito said, they have been losing in every single aspect of this series at times, and I think that continues. I think the Hawks continue to take it to the Knicks. I think Randall is going to continue to have some struggles to try and do everything on his own or try and facilitate a little bit to the outside shooters. But at this point, I'm very confident in the Hawks' ability to finish this series and possibly get to 4-2.
100%. I'm going to agree with you on that one. I mean, it's going to be unfortunate for the Knicks, who had a great run of a season, if it does come down to it tonight. But I can definitely see it ending tonight as well. The Hawks know how much it is at stake at this point. If they do not win this game tonight, it can be possible that they blow this lead and lose the series. So I think the Hawks are going to give it their all tonight to go out there and finish this series while the chance is now. But, this can be a good thing for the Knicks. I mean, it's unfortunate that you guys might go home tonight, but if you do, look on the bright side. Most of these guys that's on the Knicks roster has barely ever made the playoffs. Mm-hmm. The only guy that I can really think of right now is probably D Rose, who can be the only guy that has playoff experience that can take you guys to the next level. But if you give the guys like Obi Toppin, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, all this momentum after this playoff loss, they can come back next year 10 times better and give you more of a prosper for the future for the Knicks. So I think that should be one of those signs you can see as a Knicks fan for the future of the Knicks if it doesn't go well tonight.
No, and also in a sense, I mean, also not only for the way I'm looking at it was not only for RJ and all these other guys as well. I mean, also for Thibodeau as well. I mean, I think he really has to like evaluate this team and know the talent that you have on this team. Like, this is not the team you had in Chicago. Of course, the defense, you praise the defense and all of that, but they're like, there's actually no defense going on as well. I mean, Atlanta literally can do whatever they want whenever they want. I mean, Trae Young literally is doing whatever he wants whenever he wants. Like, if he wants to get an assist this possession, he's gonna get an assist. If he wants to just go to the basket for a layup, he's gonna get a layup. So Thibs really gotta evaluate himself in this one and figure it out for next season. But I mean, all in all, listen, you got to give this team credit. I mean, we're a team that was in last place, was not supposed to be here. don't really have no stars. Randle just developed into one. So all in all, I mean, listen, I'm still proud of this Knicks and always gonna rock for my guys. So let's pull it out tonight at least.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, this Knicks team is definitely more built for success down the line right now than right now. They very, very young talent, as you said. Hopefully they can build off of this for 2022, 2023, maybe even 2024, depending on how much they keep the core together.
Mm-hmm.
But the future is looking bright for the Knicks. I did not have very high expectations for them coming into this year, and they very much surprised me, especially, of course, Randall's amazing improvement this year. So if they can build upon this, it's going to be a very, very fun future for the Knicks.
Yeah. And I definitely also, I think Randall coming this offseason, you have to develop a post game. I think if he developed a post game, the dude can be a really good scorer, but just trying to shoot threes and those fadeaway jump shots is not going to work. You don't have handles for all that. Just try to work on the post game, and I think you'll be so much better.
Yeah, man, 100%. You know, this is going to be a good offseason for most fans, including the Houston Rockets, but we'll get into that in another time. But on to the next series. What a game last night, ladies and gentlemen. The Phoenix Suns is leading the Lakers 3-2. Shout out to Coquito who called it. And I said I wouldn't be surprised if they do it. But, you know, hey, it's tough to go back-to-back as a champion in the NBA. And the Suns is definitely looking to make the final move and eliminating the Los Angeles Lakers next game. Coquito, let me get your thoughts on this series of who wins the next game, man.
I mean, listen, and it's what I've been telling you. It's the Suns team can just absolutely shoot the ball, and if they continue to shoot the way they are, I do not see the Lakers beating them at all. I mean, it's just impossible to stop these guys. They're well around in every position. They have the depth, but with all that being said, when LeBron James backs against his wall and he just turns on that switch, you do not want to be the team on the opposite side. So I think he played a little bit too passive for me in this game. It's sad how AD didn't play and had the same amount of points as Schroeder. I don't think all that stuff is going to happen next game. I think they definitely force a game 7. I just can't see LeBron going home just like that. So I think they definitely force a game 7.
All right, Lucas, you're up.
I have learned one lesson from the NBA over the last few years, like for most of my life. And it has been a lesson that has been learned through blood, sweat, and plenty of Pacer fans' tears. Do not bet against LeBron.
Listen, I say the same thing about him and Tom Brady.
Tom Brady,
those two, you do not just bet against.
Yep.
It is a strong lesson. And you saw how LeBron kind of stormed off the bench at the end of Game 5. He is not going to be passive at all this next game. He is going to try and bring the really upset king of LeBron James. And it's going to be him trying to ball out as much as he can. I think he will also force that Game 7. I don't know if he will win the Game 7, though, especially without AD. But I am very, very scared for the Suns defense next week or later.
Yeah.
100%.
All I can say is somebody's getting dunked on. I'm clipping this, stamping it, everything. Somebody's getting dunked on this game. Don't know who's going to be, but LeBron's going to come through with the force. He's going to have that Miami meme face when he goes vintage mode and he has that ultimate stare. LeBron's going to be locked in. There's going to be a game to watch. I can't wait. We're going to hop into this last commercial break, and then we're going to get to our next topics. And then, Lucas, if you haven't watched any times, the next segment is going to be called the Coquito Hot Takes, where he gives us a series of questions, and we have to answer if it's a hot take or not. So hopefully you tune into that. All right, we'll be right back.
Following content you're about to see is what is expected from the Hot Take Podcast.
Go by Dom
What's going on, everybody? It's Coquito.
Casamigos Tequila.
Little bottle of Patron right here. Still in the proper 12. It's kind of too bright, can't really see it, but yeah, it's a little bottle of vodka there.
Busted child. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not, but there's a bunch of aunties and fire grandmas out there showing them their face when they wake up and then how they busted down when they put the makeup on. So I'm definitely with that vibe. Have you seen that yet?
I recently just checked it out.
Jordan Woods has just did the busted down challenge, ladies and gentlemen. And Lord have mercy.
It's just incredible the thing that this guy is doing, and family nearly averaging a triple double. But I mean, definitely my favorite Jordan moment is probably that switch hands, man, in the finals. I mean, I think people like really underestimate like how hard that move is. But I mean, definitely, like, for example, man, I don't see how Julius Randle is not on this list of all-stars.
Whoever wrote this, your mom's a hoe.
Welcome back to the show. I see you. I see you nodding and smiling during the commercial break, Lucas. Are you impressed? Or?
I am very much impressed.
Thank you. Just a little side work. So let's hop into these last three games. I saved the best one for last, but the next one is the Clippers versus the Mavericks. Shockingly, Coquito, they tied the series, and now it's going into a game 5. We've never seen this coming. Coquito, who do you think is going to win the next game?
This series is actually unpredictable. Honestly, I was watching game 3 and I saw like the Mavs were winning, and I kind of like changed it. I said, all right, the Mavs won. And I'm like, the next day I'm like, damn, the Mavs are up 3-0. And I looked, I'm like, wait, hold on. The Clippers came back and won? Wow. Then the next game, same thing. I'm just like, I mean, the momentum is heavily on the Clippers now, but it just looks like these teams, not one of them can win a home game. So I'm just going to have to go with the Mavs on this one.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. I think they're starting to find out that identity on Luka, but we'll talk about that later. Lucas, let me get your thoughts on the series of who wins the next game.
Well, like many people, I was going to write in the Mavs as practically sweeping this series early on, but the Clippers have fought back very, very valiantly. It is, as Coquito said, a very tough series to predict. Luka has been dealing with a neck injury, so that has been kind of limiting him just a little bit. I'm torn. I am absolutely torn.
Hey, man, I'll tell you guys this. For me personally, I'm choosing the next game to be the Clippers. And for all the guys that's making sports bets, put Paul George in your lineup tonight. Paul George tonight will have more than 20 points. I guarantee you that Paul George will go off tonight.
That's a bold prediction right there.
I think he will. And I think it's only a matter of time. Like, I think this will be his night for him to actually go off. Pandemic P will be trending on Twitter, so look forward to that.
I hate to bet on Paul George after his Pacers exit, but I agree with you. I think Paul George and the Clippers are going to win this next game, but I think the Mavs could possibly try and retake momentum the next time.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very dicey series to make predictions on, so bold on you to really put your stamp on Pandemic P, but hey, that's what this podcast is for.
Hey, there we go. See, Lucas is in the mix. All right, the next one is looking like it's pretty much over. The 76ers versus the Wizards. This series has been back and forth, but the Sixers lead 3-1. Look like the Wizards has found the identity to put a hack of Ben Simmons foul treatment on Ben Simmons because he stinks at the free throw line, and that gave them momentum to win the last game. But who do you think is going to win the next game, Coquito?
It's crazy you say that because, like, as when I was watching the Knicks game, like I'm literally just like screaming at my TV and screaming at Thibodeau, like, can you just please foul Capella? If he's in the game, just foul him. Like, it's a win-win. It's either you're gonna foul him, he's gonna miss, or they're gonna take him out and you can attack the basket. But I mean, shout out to the Wizards. But I think they're pretty much, it's over. I think Philly's gonna go back home and win it. They pretty much did what they were supposed to do. Like, just don't go home out on your home court. So they forced another game. Shout out to the Wizards for that. Shout out to Beal and Westbrook, but they will be going home.
Lucas, let me get your thoughts.
Well, I think this is going to be a 76ers win. Wizards definitely found a little bit of an answer, but I think that the 76ers will make a adjustment right back at them and Maybe Ben Simmons will learn how to shoot a free throw. Maybe. Miracles can happen.
Yeah.
But
But
I mean, and also
100%.
Embiid did go out, so I mean that also helped the Wizards. But I still think they're gonna win either without him. If he doesn't play this game or not, I don't know.
Just to say, your All-Star did struggle last game too, Coquito, but we won't mention that.
It's I mean, it's all right. It's bound to happen, man.
That, he had his moment, and I was
it's-
like, all right, so I just want to see what Coquito was saying because I know what's about to happen.
No,
He wet the bed.
it's all right. It's bound to happen, but I mean, you know how I feel about him. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah.
Lucas, we're talking about Tobias Harris because he thinks he's an all-star, but I say he's just a good role player. What's your thoughts on Tobias Harris?
I think he's a little bit of both. I know.
I can see that.
Some nights, I can definitely make the claim that he is an all-star. Other nights, I can say he's a role player. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
But I think he's just in that level right in between of he's a good, really, really good role player. And then when he has his perfect matchups, he is a all-star level player. But doesn't always align, so...
But this was like the argument I kind of like me and Dom had is because if Tobias doesn't play well, pretty much the Sixers are not as successful unless he has a consistent 25, 26 points per game. I mean, like I told him, I think the Sixers go as far as he and Embiid can carry them. Because I mean, Simmons is basically your main defender. He's gonna help you on the defensive side. On the offensive side, not really there. So you have to heavily rely on Tobias Harris and Embiid to get you those buckets, and also to help the other guys like Curry and Danny Green find their open shots.
Everybody got to help Danny Green, but yeah, go ahead.
but yeah, so pretty much that's why I say Tobias Harris is an all-star, and I feel like no matter what team he goes to, he will either be your second or first, depending on what team he's on, option of a scorer.
Hey man, you got a good point there. The last topic of discussion. Lord, were we all sad last night? Damian Lillard. No, this is the second before last, but Damian Lillard went crazy yesterday, but unfortunately it was not enough because his teammates sold him out of the game.
Yeah.
Robert Covington missed 2 dunks in transition. Carmelo's passing out of a layup under the basket. CJ McCollum stepping out of bounds. All cost Damian Lillard a monumental game. And the Nuggets wind up walking away. Shout out to Austin Rivers. But the Nuggets wind up walking away and winning that game. The series is now 3-2. Who wins the next game? Coquito first.
Now, this is like, I mean, this was, I don't know. This one is tough now because everything that happened, like, I think he just let everything out that game to try to help him win that game. And like you said, I mean, his teammates just sold him. Like McCollum, like, how long have you been playing on this court? Like, how do you possibly step out of bounds in that situation? I get it. You can miss dunks and all that stuff. It happens. Okay, I understand it. But, man, I don't know, man. This one is kind of tough to predict. But in a sense, I have to give it to the Blazers as well. Again, only because it's a winner must go home. And Damian Lillard, after what he did, I pretty much can see him doing the same thing again. I don't think his teammates will make the same mistakes they made. So I think they can pull that game out and force the game 7.
Lucas, it's on you.
Well, Dame is definitely going to have very interesting conversations with his teammates after that game. I mean, there's either going to be one scenario or another. Either he's going to try and light a fire under them and say, hey, you guys need to step it up. Give me some help. Please help me. And maybe they turn it around and he continues to be awesome. And maybe they finally get and push to that game 7. Or it's going to backfire and they're just going to be absolutely demoralized and Dame is going to be exhausted after that previous game. So if I had to bet which one would be, I could see it being the first one. So I think that the Blazers do push it to a game 7, but if I'm Dame, I am definitely going to be very, very upset with the Trailblazers after that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna go opposite here. I'm gonna go dark horse. I think the Nuggets are gonna close this series out. I just think it's just too much of firepower on Denver for the Blazers to manage. But the one thing I can say, if CJ McCollum just gives them a little Dame help, I can see them winning the game. But for me, I think Denver's depth is too much for the Blazers, and I think they close it out the next game. It's unfortunate, but I can see a game like Michael Porter Jr. or someone like that going off because Jokic is just too nice for Jokic to handle, and I just think the Nuggets is just going to win.
Yeah, and I mean that showed last game. No matter what Dame was doing, it's like Jokic went on his side and he had an answer for him. So I mean, and listen, I can also see after that game, so much pressure being on the Blazers, not necessarily just Lillard, because Lillard already knows, like, listen, I'm gonna do me no matter regardless of what it is. But I feel like it might be a little bit too much pressure on them to win that game.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hopefully the Blazers can pull it off, like I said, but it's going to be a hard fight. The last one is Jesus Christ. The last one is the Grizzlies versus the Jazz. Series is 3-1. Looks like it's pretty much a wrap. Coquito, let me get your thoughts.
Yeah, and listen, I said it from the beginning after the game one. I told you this series is basically gonna depend on Donovan Mitchell. If he plays, the Jazz are winning. If he doesn't, then Memphis I can see squeaking out wins. And I was right to the T. I mean, Mitchell came back. It's been balling. Definitely, I don't think Memphis is good enough to beat the Jazz with their full team. So I definitely have Mitchell finishing the series off.
Lucas is on you.
Well, I like Jazz, man. This is going to be a Jazz win, 4-1. It's honestly, what else needs to be said at this point? They are just definitely going to win on this one.
Yeah, I mean, but shout out to Memphis. They're another team that I think nobody expected them to even be in this position, and Ja Morant just keeps showing out. They have pretty much good potential. I feel like they're missing pieces, but then again, I mean, Memphis is kind of going to be a hard place to draw any superstar to go over there. So, but the team, it looks like they're on the rise.
Yeah, man, 100%. Hopefully the Grizzlies can put it off. Shout out to Grayson Allen. But the depth for the Jazz is probably going to be enough. Unfortunately, Memphis might be going home. I mean, we could see a Ja Morant show. He might go crazy, but I still don't think it's going to be enough for Memphis to pull off this last game. But you know, it was a good run for Memphis. I definitely think it can bounce back. But like I think the Jazz are closing it out. So yeah, that's who I have winning the next game.
All right.
Yeah. So the next topic, we're gonna go into your hot takes, man. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Lucas, are you ready?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
All right, let's go ahead and change the background. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Coquito's Hot Takes.
All right. I wish I kind of forgot. I was trying to remember who was his favorite team, but then like when I realized it was the Pacers, it was kind of too late, so I couldn't just throw in a hot take in there just for him. But maybe next time though.
Yeah.
All right, the first one, and even though I've been on the verge of having this team winning, but Lakers in 7.
Yeah, that's what I got. I always had them winning at the beginning, even though the Suns are currently on a run right now. But I had the Lakers winning in 7. I did say Game 7 too, so that's my prediction. On you, Lucas.
Well, I don't think it's a hot take either. You heard me say that LeBron is going to try and be as aggressive as possible. He knows his back is against the wall. It's win or go home. It's going to be a Game 7, and I could see them using that momentum to carry them through.
Yeah, I mean, I'm stuck in the middle on this one. So I mean, I see Dime tagging me in this and claiming this guy is the most dominant since Shaq or top 5 or whatever the case may be. So So let's see if the Bucks can win in 7.
Against the Nets?
Yep.
Nah, I think the Nets will win in 5.
In 5.
Yep.
With Antetokounmpo on that team?
Shout out to Kyrie. I got the Nets winning in 5.
Wow. All right.
I disagree. I have the Bucks winning in 6.
All right, man.
I like that. Hey man, it's gonna be star studded. I can't wait for that series myself.
I
But
mean, it's gonna be.
I got Brooklyn pulling it out.
Well, you know, obviously, I'm biased, so I'm rooting for the Bucks. But so I mean, I'd love to see Bucks in 4. If you want to put it like that.
Wow.
But
It's a little
I
too
mean,
aggressive
yeah.
on that.
No,
hot take
yeah,
there.
yeah, but definitely, I think the Bucks can win it in 7 for sure, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna switch it over, and we're gonna go into football, and this is kind of a pretty good one. I could see this person, maybe leading the league in rushing touchdowns, but also winning MVP. So, Kyler Murray wins MVP next season.
I don't see that. To win MVP, I don't know. I don't even know. I mean, he'll probably be the best. I don't know, man. His division, he still got Stafford in his division, so I don't know if he have better numbers than Stafford. Stafford, I feel like he's more set up to, because he got more of a pass-oriented offense. When you go to the Cardinals, they can do pretty much anything else other than passing. But I don't know. I don't think he'll win MVP next year. Maybe not this year. Maybe in the future, though. I like Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray winning MVP. I think that is a colder take than him winning the rushing title. Both are very hot.
No, not let me rephrase that. Well, just out of the quarterbacks, I think he'll leave the quarterbacks in rushing CD.
If Lamar Jackson's injured, yes. But
we all know Lamar is running before anything else.
Yeah. Unless that happens, Kyler's probably going to be second on the QB rushing totals. But
100%, maybe.
I really like what the Cardinals have surrounded him with in terms of weapons. Offensive line, though, not quite. That's the one thing that's going to be holding Kyler back from getting to that potential of putting up an MVP season. So I feel like there may be one more offseason away before he kind of gets to that level. But I do think if Rondale Moore is healthy, they could take a very good step forward.
All right. Next one. Aaron Donald will go down as the best defensive player of all time.
Now that's a hot take, but that's probably the most realistic one out of all of them because the dude's a monster and nobody can pretty much stop him. I mean, the last guy I seen come off the edge or somebody come screaming at a quarterback like that is Lawrence Taylor probably, and you know he was hyped up. So I mean, that's definitely it's possible. I mean, if he gets him a Super Bowl eventually too, so I can definitely see him going down as one of the best, or probably the best. Lucas,
if you said defensive tackle, I would say that is freezing cold take. You went all the way with defense. He has the potential to be it, but he needs to keep it going for quite a few more years, and he's starting to get up there in age. I think he's going to start to regress. Maybe not this year, but in a year or 2, maybe even 3. And at that point, I don't know if I'd quite crown him the king in terms of best defensive players of all time. He is the most dominant that I've seen in my lifetime. However, there's been a huge history of amazing defensive players. I think you could put Reggie White potentially up there. You could put LT back in the day. You could put even a corner like Deion Sanders potentially up there. So he's getting into the conversation potentially, but not quite there yet. If he puts up another 20 sacks in a season, I'll rethink.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's the what he has in favor is he's still playing, so he definitely has a shot at that. Next one, I think he might start. Well, not necessarily. I don't think he might start week 1, but I think eventually he will get on the field. And when he does, Trey Lance will break Herbert's rookie touchdown record.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, but hopefully, he doesn't see a field for a while because, they might still have faith in Jimmy G. They might give him one last run. So, I mean, especially if they give Jimmy G a run before they play the Colts, I would love it. Maybe they give Lance his run after they play the Colts. So, maybe he can break Herbert's record. I'll take him breaking the record over that guy in Chicago, but, that's just me being me. But, yeah, it's possible. Trey Lance, he has potential.
Take Zach Wilson as well, too.
Yeah, look at the Jets fan speaking. Jets fan. Lucas, let me get your thoughts on that.
I loved Trey Lance coming out, and I think that he has arguably the highest potential of this whole entire draft class, even more so than Trevor Lawrence. Like, they are 1A, 1B potentially in terms of high upside, though, of course, Lance's floor is very, very low, too. And I see there possibly being a little bit of an adjustment period from him at North Dakota State all the way to the NFL. So I think that Jimmy G is going to start the year. He's probably going to go for at least 3 games, maybe 4, maybe even 5. And at that point, it's going to be very hard for Trey Lance to catch up to him, even though he has one of the best situations in football in terms of entering as a rookie, as a quarterback. So if we're talking maybe total touchdowns, and if he goes game 1, sure, I could see that. But with me thinking that he's going to be coming in at around week 5 or 6, even with the extra week, I'm saying that take is a little too hot for my taste.
Well,
that's a first.
That's what we get here, man. We talk about all the time. Like, the hot takes are not necessarily like stuff that I agree with. Most of the stuff I write, I kind of don't agree with as well. But it's just something to just keep it going. Some of the stuff I actually agree with, but most of it is just to get some spiciness in the cast.
For sure, man. Shout out to Reckless for joining. I think we're pretty much done here at this point, right, Coquito?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the last one. Mm-hmm.
All right, so you can go ahead and pour up. Successful stream. Appreciate Lucas for joining.
Yes,
actually
sir.
drinking with us as well. Appreciate you. I have a bunch of work to do. I just got so many emails. So that's the fun for me.
Oh, wait, you gotta wait. Oh, no.
All right, so cheers. We gotta do a toast first, man.
Yeah, you gotta.
I like the energy. I like he's
just
ready to go.
Yeah.
I think you need to give him your Elijah and Craig so it can be golf faster.
You would have just took the whole thing already.
Yep. All right, cheers to a successful episode. Thank you, Lucas, for joining. Shout out to Coquito. Any words?
Salud.
All right, cheers.
Let's go, Knicks.
Cheers.
Oh, God, no. Now you can drink.
I thought that's what you wanted to hear.
Nah, I didn't want to hear that at all.
Oh.
All right, and we out.